on Bulls. On today's episode, we're going to be breaking down the Bulls' big win against the Milwaukee Bucks. We're going to get into all that and more right after this.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily podcast on the Chicago Bulls, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for tuning in to Locked On Bulls. Remember, the Locked On Podcast Network records your team every day. That's Pat the designer, host and creator of the Windy City Breeze. I'm Haize, host and creator of Chicago Bulls and Chicago Bears Central pages on YouTube. Today's episode is brought to you by Sweatblock. If you or someone you love is experiencing embarrassing sweat or odor, try Sweatblock. Save 20% with promo code LOCKEDON at sweatblock.com. Also available on Amazon. Pat, we got two big wins in a row against the number 1 and number 2 team in the Eastern Conference. The Bulls beat the Milwaukee Bucks tonight. How do you feel, brother?
Hey, baby, we doing some heavy lifting out here. What you mean right now? Doing some heavy lifting out here. Hey, listen, we asked how this Bulls team would respond to Billy Donovan benching Zach LaVine and how Zach LaVine will respond. It's working. Right? Like, I don't know if it all correlates to each other, but at least the team got the memo. The team understood the message. The team understood what it had to do to get to that next level. And so for me, right, like I have to give credit to what Billy Donovan has done. And I want to start off by saying that because I know there's a lot of people that are going to run quickly to bash Billy Donovan the next time the Bulls lose a game. I'm giving credit to Billy Donovan for turning a team around that in 2 games looked absolutely lifeless on the court. And now when the 2 best teams in the NBA come in, not only did you get a win, but you got convincing wins. The Bulls played excellently defensively tonight. At the end of the day, listen, you can't stop Giannis.
Yeah.
But if you're going to do anything, I think the Chicago Bulls did the best thing that you could do versus Giannis. Let's just keep an active hands versus. You know what he's going to do. Bump, spin, I'm going to go up, try to dunk on you. Guess what? Down low, Javonte Green had 2 steals on him. Patrick Williams had 2 blocks on him on that and able to swipe one away. Alex Caruso got a couple of steals off of it. Like, those are the things that I'm looking at to see, okay, I can't stop that dude. There's a bunch of dudes in the NBA you can't stop. How are you going to make your team effective around that player? And you know what? I'll say this as well. By the way, this is the Bulls' first win in Milwaukee since 2017. So this is a big win for that reason as well. But on top of that, I'll say this. This is the first time we've played the Bucks close to 100% healthy, right? We're missing Dragic tonight, of course, and missing Lonzo Ball since we've been, had this team put together. Last season, Zach was out or DeMar was out. I think Booch played in every game last year, but outside of that, right, like Zach was out, DeMar was out, Javonte was missing time, Caruso was missing time. And at the end of the day, when you saw this team together, you saw this team come together, you saw this team deal with adversity. It was a back and forth game every single time. The Bulls were able to fight back. That's something to hang your hat on.
What do you think has stood out? What has stood out to you the most as far as what's changed with the Bulls the last 2 games?
I said it, bro. Like, in that losing streak, we saw the Bulls have the ability to do everything we're seeing right now. They were a top 5 defensive team at that point, I believe. Maybe top 8. 5 might be a little high. Maybe top 8.
I think
they were had a ability to score the ball. They were moving the ball well. They just didn't do it for 4 quarters.
Yeah.
They would do it in the first quarter, or they would do it in the second quarter, or they would do it in the second and third, or the third and fourth, but you'd already gotten too far behind. The last 2 games, we have seen the Chicago Bulls play a full game and not get down on themselves when mistakes were made. It's a 48-minute game. You're going to make mistakes at some point, but it can't be, hey, I missed that jump shot. Now I'm going to go get cooked on the defensive end. And there were a bunch of those moments tonight where it was like, okay, this previously has been the last, or this previously in the last few games, or the games where we were losing, would have been the time where the Bulls crumpled. Right? Like when what was it? When they come down the court when Zach LaVine gets the wild, not that wild, right? He got the offensive foul call right. It's his motion. I get it.
The flagrant was a wild call.
Leg was a little high. Adding a flagrant to that, right? That's the wild part. That's the part where you're like, what the heck's going on? Are the refs out to get us yet again? We've seen the Bulls crumple in those moments. They go down on the other end. They make both flagrant free throws. They come down, knock down a 3. It turns into a 5-point play, a 7-point swing, and they fight back.
Yeah. And at one point in this game was the Bulls were up by 5. The Milwaukee Bucks came back and were up by 1. And that's usually where we see the game get completely away from the Chicago Bulls. The way that they stayed in that game, they went through another scoring drought, which bothered me, a 3.5-minute scoring drought that completely bothered me. But outside of that scoring drought, the way they played, even during that scoring drought, the way they played defense, the way they kept in that game, because that's usually where the Bulls let the game get away from them. They did not in this game, were able to play well enough to come back. And I think that's one of the things that just is standing out is the intention on both sides of the ball, the consistency on both sides of the ball as well from this Bulls team. And I want to give credit due. I started calling him Passive P at the beginning of the season. Patrick Williams played one of his best defensive games using his body, understanding his strength. There's a play in this game where he calls Giannis to get a travel call just by bumping him, right? Just by bumping him, understanding how strong he is. And me and you both have said it. Once Patrick Williams realizes how strong he is, watch out, league. Patrick Williams is having the best month of his career in this month of month of November, averaging 11 points per game, shooting the ball 51% from the field, 45% from three-point range. Patrick Williams is having himself a hell of a month.
No, absolutely. And I think here's the thing, right? And it's like we said, right? First quarter, first half, Giannis didn't have 9 points. What did we all think was going to happen?
Yeah.
We all knew Giannis, he didn't have 9. He had 6 points leaving the half, right? I believe he had 6 points going into that third quarter.
Mm-hmm.
We knew what was about to happen. Patrick Williams could, unless he one day becomes Giannis, will never be able to stand there and just keep Giannis off of the glass for 48 minutes. That player doesn't exist in the NBA. When you find that player, just hand him the NBA championship trophy because he's now the greatest player of all time.
I love that last season. I remember last season when Bulls fans were like, the Bulls just need to find somebody who can stop Embiid and Giannis. And it's like, you do realize that player would be the most coveted player in the NBA if that was the case.
Bro, here's the thing. It's not wrong. It's PJ Tucker. He got $30 million from the Philadelphia 76ers to literally just go out there and be a Giannis stopper.
Yeah. And
you got to get the Giannis in the playoffs. No, but honestly, right, like I'm looking at this season and I'm looking at these last 2 games and I'm saying, right, like this Bulls team, to me, they've been this level of team all season, but just not throughout games. And you know what? These last 2 games, I know there's a lot of people, right, that are looking down on Zach LaVine and how he shot the ball this season early on and having his lowest point total of his career and different things like that, or since his rookie year, basically, right? Lowest point total since his rookie year. Here's the one thing that I'll say. The thing that I'm focused in on is how does a player affect the game when the shot's not falling?
Mm-hmm.
Shooters go through slumps. We've seen Stephen Curry go through slumps. He's the greatest shooter anybody in this chat has ever seen.
Wardell Curry
go through slumps. And he's the greatest shooter anybody in this chat has ever seen.
Yeah.
I don't care what anybody says. You can name me any shooter of all time. I will say Stephen Curry. You're wrong. Stephen Curry. Wardell. And he's gone through shooting slumps in his career. How's he affecting the game? How is Zach affecting the game when the shot's not falling? And right now, the 3 balls aren't falling. They're not going down consistently. He's not knocking it down. When he is knocking it down, he's getting called for a weird flagrant. But we're seeing him pass people open. We're seeing him find guys on the wing. We're seeing him do that drive and kick, and it works very well. We're seeing Zach LaVine play some of the best defense, might I say, that I've ever seen him play in his life. I have to say, right, like, to me, this is an interesting turn of events over these last couple of games. And if they can continue to do that, if they can continue to rely on those guys to be the guys they are, or that they've shown us to be these last 2 games, the sky's the limit for this Bulls team because you're seeing young guys come into their own. Now, again, another game where Drew Holiday is Ayo Dosunmu's kryptonite.
Man, listen.
Drew Holiday be cooking Ayo, bro.
He be cooking. And we're going to keep on talking about that and what Drew Holiday and Ayo Dosunmu and Patrick Williams and other players. Kobe White coming up big with ice in his veins in this game. But first, I got to talk to you guys about BetOnline. BetOnline.net is your number one source for your sports betting info, stats, news, and analysis. Get the latest odds and trends for every professional and amateur league out there. From football to basketball to soccer and esports, we got it all at BetOnline.net. And if you love sports podcasts, you can find those at BetOnline as well. We're always the fastest and easiest way to get your betting fix. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more. BetOnline, it's where the game starts.
We want to thank you guys for making Locked On Bulls your first listen every day. For your second listen today, check out Locked On Sports Today for the games that matter the most. For the biggest stories in sports, go beyond the scoreboard and behind the scenes with local experts and insight that only Locked On can provide. Locked On Sports Today, available on this app, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts.
Pat, several role players stepped up for this team today. We already talked about Patrick Williams heavily. One of the players that really did shine is one Jacoby White. Alec Jacoby White stepped up big time, hitting 2 big threes in clutch for the Chicago Bulls, as well as Nikola Vucevic. Yeah, Jacoby. You didn't know that?
No clue.
Alec Jacoby White. Jacoby isn't even his first name. It's his middle name. Alec Jacoby White.
He should have went with Alec White. I feel like a solid NBA guy is Alec.
See,
so wait, he's choosing to go with Kobe? Now it's slanderous.
Now it's slanderous. I feel like he would probably have went with Alec White had he not been into basketball, because he's definitely going to get the job.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Alec White's getting the job.
Definitely. But what did you think about the performance of Kobe White tonight?
Listen, we don't say this about Kobe White ever. But there were 5 Kobe Whites out there tonight. Kobe White, when he was on the floor defensively, was making an impact. Now, listen, right? I know there's some people by the end of the game, they're like, Kobe White's killing us out there. They had Kobe switching on Giannis. What do y'all want him to do? Listen, I still have some questions on kind of Billy D's rotations at the end of the games. He loves going with this small ball lineup to go kind of like towards the end of the game, and then he goes back to P-Will usually to finish it. But I'm still confused on a lot of those small ball lineups. But Kobe White came out there, right? And to me, I thought that he did an excellent job defensively in this game. I thought he did an excellent job staying engaged in this game because he came out there, right, and down the stretch missed a couple of tough three-pointers that we've seen take Kobe kind of out of his mental rhythm. Nope, bouncing right back from him, knocking down 2 huge threes that the Bulls absolutely – I mean, listen, you don't win this game without Kobe White today. Honestly.
Oh, no. You don't win the game without Kobe White.
And here's the thing, right? If he can find that confidence, if he can find that – okay, I can be the guy to close these games out with these jump shots off of the bench. I can be the guy I can be the Goran Dragic that this team brought in, right? I can be that guy. If he finds that confidence, there's not much the Bucks can do because of how they play the perimeter.
Yeah.
The Bucks are a team that will let you get the 3. They're a team that will allow you to shoot the 3 because they're going to clamp down the paint. Everybody's always like, why is Vooch shooting so many threes? Because there's 17 7-footers down there looking to swat a shot, and one of them's one of the best defenders we've ever seen. It makes more sense for him to pull the 3 ball. So I got to give Kobe White credit for how he played today. I thought he did an excellent job staying engaged in his game. And I thought, right, like how Kobe played to me is very indicative of how this Bulls team has been. Yeah, there were some up and downs in Kobe's game. We got to the middle part of that game, and he basically wasn't involved. But by the end of it, he's one of the biggest pieces that we can have in that game.
Yeah, Kobe White's stat line tonight. Let's just go ahead and read that. 5 for 10 from the field, 14 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals, a block, and only 1 turnover from Kobe White.
Was that Kobe White or Javonte Green out there?
Yeah, I mean, listen, there were 5 Javantes out there at some point as well. By the way, Javonte gave me the scare of my life. Like, That play where he landed on his wrist reminded me so much of Alex Caruso, bro. Like, I was frustrated as hell.
See, y'all was saying, everybody else was saying wrist too. I was like, boy, he landed on that back hard, boy. Listen, we know what Javonte is. Javonte wants to jump.
Yeah.
The back is very important in jumping. But I mean, listen, Kobe White, of course, huge player. Over 100 in the chat. I'm not gonna scream it over here, but shout out to 100 people pulling up. Hit that like button on the YouTube.
No. First of all, you can't do us like that. Scream it. Give it to us like you
over 100 in the chat.
There you go. You don't sell us short.
No, but what I will say is, I thought the Bulls, right, like, again, I've talked a couple of times this season about it's not about, right? Like, I still expect Zach LaVine to play well by the end of the season. DeMar DeRozan, we know what he's going to do. Vucci came out, gave you a very Vucci kind of game tonight, right? What are the other guys doing? And again, while missing one of your main role players, the other guys played well. P. Will, 11-3-3. Io, 8-3-3. I thought he had some solid defensive moments in this game. Still want to see Io shooting more, though. He has, like, random games where he doesn't take shots. I don't get that.
Well, usually when he doesn't take shots is because he draws a heck of a defensive matchup. And I do think that Io, at this point in his career, when he gets – I don't want to necessarily call it cooked. He didn't get cooked per se, but when he's not necessarily performing the best defensively, he doesn't perform the best offense. It takes him out of his offensive game a little bit.
Hey, my boy. Drew Holiday got 14, 5, and 11. He took 6 shots. That's got crazy. Hey, he got cooked, bro. Listen, I love Io. I mean, 14 on 6 shots, bro. You got cooked.
Yeah, he got cooked. And Io did have 4 fouls in this game too, so that all makes sense.
You know what I mean? So I love, right, what the other guys are showing me the ability that they can do. The thing is, can you do it consistently? The Bulls bench, we talked about this multiple times. Bulls bench has been a strength for them this season. And for me, right, I think that's the biggest key to continuing to win these games. LaVine going to be able to play. DeMar going to be, those guys, we know what they bring. But on the Dragic, the Kobe Whites, Javonte Green, 4 for 5, 11 points, 2 for 3 from the 3-point line. That's all I need. I
agree with you. What do you think about the performance of Andre Drummond and Vooch today? The Bulls got out-rebounded by 13 in this game. They both single-digit rebounds. I don't know how much that's going to happen over the course of the season. What did you think about Andre Drummond's performance in this game today?
I thought Andre Drummond did what we wanted him to do versus the Milwaukee Bucks, right? Okay. Still single-digit rebounds for sure, but 16 minutes for Drummond, 8 boards. You know what I mean? Like, he did what we wanted him to do. He got was that shot in the fourth quarter, that little bump and hook? I think that was in the fourth quarter. Got the little hook shot over Giannis. I'm not looking for Andre Drummond to do a whole lot. You got Andre Drummond for one reason, and I think he did a good job of that tonight. And Vooch, to his credit, right? Like, the stats are going to tell you that Vooch 18-5 played poorly. Or didn't rebound. I not played poorly, but didn't rebound like Vooch normally does. Yeah. Brooke Lopez came out and laced us for like 7 3-pointers in the first quarter. Like, you're not playing in the paint no more. The paint is done.
Definitely.
But no, I thought Drummond did a heck of a job tonight, and I think that it is Drummond or Goran the biggest pickup that we've had. Because looking at this game, I can make an argument that if Vooch rebounds like he normally does, the Bulls win this rebounding battle.
Oh, for sure. I still give it to Drummond. I just think when you look at Drummond and look at the bench center play that we had last season, especially when you see Kobe performing like this, like we have nobody on the roster that can duplicate what Drummond gives. I think between Alex Caruso, between Kobe White, and whoever has the better shooting night, whoever just plays better, we can get what Dragic gives us from another player. But there's nobody else on the roster that can give us what Drummond gives us. Nobody.
I agree with that. And I think, right, like the fact that in a game like this last year, Vooch was exhausted. Vooch played 29 minutes tonight. Andre Drummond played 16, and yet you were able to put Andre Drummond out there to match up. I thought Billy Donovan did a good job, and of course, we'll get into a little bit of Billy Donovan in this next topic because we always got to talk a little bit about Billy Donovan because did he make adjustments again? Yeah, timeouts came a little late. We'll talk about it, but I think like when you look at the fact that Andre Drummond played 16 minutes and it's literally like 8-minute interval and then another 8-minute interval. That's great. Vooch is literally just like, I'm actually ready to go back in the game. Like I've been sitting maybe a little long.
I feel that. I like that. I like where we are in the season too. I like the minute balance between Drummond and Vooch. I just feel like the coaching staff has that well underhand.
Yeah. 100%. Hey, listen, we saw some great defense from the Chicago Bulls tonight. Patrick Williams had 2 blocks, and just like Patrick Williams, we want to block away Sweat. I don't know if that worked. It didn't really mix in there.
That was what I like. I like it.
Yeah, you like it? All right, we'll leave it in there. Hey, listen, I got to tell you guys about Sweat Block here. Here's the thing. At the end of the day, look at me. I'm a sweaty guy. I am what I am. But since I've been using Sweat Block, don't have the issues anymore, bro. Pit stains on the shirt don't exist no more. Crazy to say. Sweat Block has absolutely made my life a lot easier. And let me tell you, if you're a sweaty person, it's okay. Listen, we be hot out here. It can do the exact same for you. Sweat Block wipes were invented by a doctor and they're guaranteed to work or you don't pay. They call it Sweat Block dry shirt guarantee. If Sweat Block doesn't keep you dry, you get your money back. If you or someone you love is experiencing embarrassing sweat and or odor, try Sweat Block risk-free today and save 20% with the promo code locked on at sweatblock.com. It's also available on Amazon, so make sure that you enter the code locked on. And let me tell you, on Black Friday, might as well. I don't know if they got a Black Friday deal on Sweat Block, but you know what I'm saying. Yeah, block some of them prices. You know what I mean? Clap it up.
I feel you. But next up, as Pat alluded to, we're going to go ahead and talk about Billy Donovan, bro. How do you feel like Billy Donovan coached probably one of his best games of the season in the last game against the Boston Celtics? Do you feel like he continued that trend against the Milwaukee Bucks tonight?
I think there were moments. I think this was a game where the Bulls pulled it out while Billy kind of coached the way that we've seen most of the season. Right? He let him figure it out. He let a 10-0 run, I think, go off before finally calling a timeout when Milwaukee took the lead. Your team kind of figured it out in this game. He let them figure it out, but it's not the kind of coaching style, I guess, that I'm a fan of. So, like, you got the win, so I can't say he was wrong, right? I thought he drew up a great play at the end to get Kobe White an open look off of that time, or not off of the timeout, off of the timeout, right? Ain't that how Kobe got the timeout? Yeah, off of the timeout. I thought he drew a great play up there. I thought the Bulls' defensive rotations, for the most part on the night, were really good. So I mean, it's kind of like, where do we credit Billy and where do we not? Like, I thought his rotations for most of the game were on point. I think the only thing that I'll ever have a problem with is just taking Patrick Williams out when P. Will's playing pretty well. Now, in this game, right, P. Will got in a little bit of foul trouble. Everybody got in a little bit of foul trouble. A lot of questionable calls in this game for both sides, right? Like, it was that play. I will say this for any Milwaukee fans that may be listening in, that play where Kobe White got the first big three, there were so many uncalled travels. Like, Kobe was like, okay, now I'm a dribble. And then, like, pass it to Io, and Io was just like 1-2 dribble. I was like, oh my God, bro.
Think about it. That's what he
did. I was like, my God, like they trying to let the Bulls win this game. I'll take it. But no, I thought that Billy Donovan, I'd say he coached a normal Billy Donovan game, and the Bulls came out on the winning end of it, which maybe, right, like, when you look at it at the end of the day, maybe that's saying that he's doing something before the game started or in practice and things like that the team is finally implementing. Maybe they're listening to him on the sidelines. Because, again, I've always been a person that said, you can't tell me Billy Donovan's telling DeMar DeRozan, hey, you see that corner three open over there? Just keep leaving him open. You know what I'm saying? So it's there's a part of it that's on the players, and I feel like the players went out there and they executed that game plan to a T tonight, especially on Giannis. Even when Giannis was going off, there still were swipes at the ball that were going the Bulls' way. There still was steals coming there that were going the Bulls' way. Milwaukee's very weird too. Like, they just kind of let like anybody front Giannis and they just don't throw him the ball. So, I mean, when you got a team that's going to do that, that's what, like, imagine, bro, honestly, like, can you imagine somebody trying to front Shaq? Like, that's what I thought about.
Well for them. Yeah.
Like, Kobe would have been like, all right, I'm going to just throw a oop.
Yeah.
But, like, Kobe White was just fronting Giannis. So, Milwaukee's a team that, here's the tough part. Is it a good thing if Billy Donovan outcoaches Bud? Because Bud, to me, is not that good of a coach.
Yeah, I mean, still, I can't say he's not that good. I can't agree that he's not that good of a coach. He's not a great coach. He's a solid coach. But any game that Billy Donovan wins, it's a win for me. Any game that Billy Donovan wins the coaching battle, I should say, that you got to give him credit for, because Billy Donovan's got outcoached by some coaches that you're just like, really, Billy? Really? This is what we doing?
Yeah, that's true, I guess. Like, when you look at it that way, like, definitely got outcoached in that Orlando game. Definitely got outcoached. Yeah, I'll give you that. I feel the same way about Mike Malone. You get outcoached by Mike Malone, that's on you, dog. Like, that's a bad look. Fair. But yeah, man, I didn't think Billy was bad tonight. I thought he helped this team win.
I feel you. But hey, if you got nothing else, bro, that's about it for tonight. Bulls get the win, the dub. That's what matters.
Well, I mean, before we go, let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
We just beat the two best teams in the NBA in our last two games.
Eastern Conference, but yeah.
No, the two best teams in the NBA.
I don't have them.
That was 1 and 2 overall.
Oh, well, you're basing it off record? Okay.
Well, I'm just saying, standing wise, they're the two best teams in the NBA.
That's fair. Okay.
How does this carry forward? Was this a matchup thing? Was this we played Milwaukee in the playoffs, we know how they play thing? Was this we size, or is this really the Chicago Bulls team that we have that can absolutely beat the best teams in the NBA?
So, I mean, the Bulls, when you look at it, right, they are now 6-6 against playoff teams that are either playoff teams from last year or above 500 on the season. The Boston, I just think we match up well against Boston as long as Robert Williams is out of the game. But I think when you look at how they went about this win, how they still even weathered the storm, the Bulls team can beat anybody. I still believe that. This Bulls team can beat any team. They just have to realize that this is the way that they need to play every single game.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of intensity. But if the Bulls can find a way to bring this level of play every single game, the Bulls can absolutely be one of the top teams in the conference.
That's crazy to say, especially after going on a 6-game losing streak. Yeah. Like, you won 2 of the, like, it doesn't even make sense. You went on a 6-game losing streak. The teams that you probably should have beat every time. And then you won against these 2 bugs. I don't know. It's going to be a long season, Bulls fans. This is why me and Haize keep telling y'all, stop panicking after the first 10, 15 games.
Yeah.
Because you never know what's going to happen. Y'all thought we were going to lose 7 straight. Also, we got a West Coast trip coming up that's about to be bananas. So hopefully the Bulls get some sleep as they head. What, OKC our next game, right?
OKC's the next game, which even though Shai is cooking, averaging 31 points per game, we can defend everything else well in that team. I think we can get a win in OKC, but the OKC is the type of game that the Bulls would absolutely somehow just get blown out in. So we got to avoid that.
Does Shai cook against Io? I don't remember them playing against.
I don't think they've ever played against each other, have they?
I don't remember, because I feel like by the time Io was starting, OKC was like, we give up.
That makes sense. Yeah, I can't. Just off the top of my head, I can't remember any noticeable.
Well, what about last season, right?
Yeah, let's see. I'm trying to see when did we play OKC last season? So we played OKC February 12th. Which would have been when Io was starting. We won that game by 5, but I'm trying to look now. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander did not play in that game.
So. First matchup between Shai and Io.
Yeah.
Let's see if Io gets another son or if Shea Drew holidays him. Hey, man, we appreciate y'all for tuning in and rocking with us for another episode. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review over on the podcast side. You can follow us on everything at Locked On Bulls. You can follow me on everything at Pat the Designer. Bulls got a dub. Let's go, baby.
We got the dub. You can follow me at CEO Haize, and I appreciate you guys so much for making Locked On Bulls your first listen every day. Now for your second listen, go and check on Locked On Sports Today, where they break down all the latest news, rumors, developments, the stories, instant reactions, big game recaps, and the take of the day. They're available on the Odyssey app, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcast. For Pat the Designer, I'm Haize. This is Locked On Bulls. We out this mug. Peace, y'all.
Yeah.